right. So as I said, gradually. So we are going to look at today is just going to be presentation. Then next week we start with the implementation. Our light is off, so I can't even see my distance well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Matplotlib is another tool that you'll be using more often. But but then, do you have any challenge with NumPy and then the pandas that you discovered the last meetings? You
I
have
think I
any?
relatively understand them for now, but we can go over maybe. Maybe I'll go over it maybe tomorrow
Okay.
by myself. Yes.
I've I've shared all the
No,
resources on the GitHub repository. So check even this slide I've uploaded, they are all there. So you can just go download and then some and start changing some of the codes and see the results that you'll be getting. Because one thing about this data now, it's all about practice. If you practice, like how you can try and read different data types. Hey, for the manual. Oh my God. Well, a minute.
sir.
Hello, Hayford. Please let me call you. I'm in a meeting. Let me call you when I'm done. Okay.
Yes, sir, please, you're freezing. I can't hear you very well.
Thank you. Sure. Sorry, I had a call, so that was my network.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was saying that try and read the different how you can read data set from different extensions using the pandas, and then try and use some of the um, how you can use the ETL, the shortcut, how you can check the data using the info, the describe, the maximum, the mean. You understand? Just be trying more hands on them. If all that you are doing, if you don't practice them, you forget because there are a lot, your friends saying things that you have to cover. That's why I highly always recommend you that now that you don't have class, anything that you learn, make sure you get time, go over it, run the code. If you don't understand something, you reach out to me. Or right now there are more your friends and resources. You understand? That is how
Yes, sir.
we can move fast. Okay. So let's continue. So Matplotlib is another library that we use. Matplotlib simply means it's Matplot library, but it has been abbreviated as Matplot. So anytime you hear about it, think about like the normal Excel that we use. See how you can plot a chart, different charts, right? Using maybe distribution, histogram, pie chart, scatter, line chart. That that is what Matplotlib basically stand used for. It used to describe your data. After you have prepared your data, check, make all the information that you need to explore your data, then visualizing it for someone who is non-technical to understand what the data is actually about, right? That is how Matplot is all about. So this one, this is just a quick history about how this tool became a popular visualization in Python, right? It's a Python tool used basically in two-dimensional arrays, right? Like what we did last time using the pandas. And don't forget, Matplot is built on top of pandas, right? It's just a base. Pandas is the base. And all these are built on NumPy. That's why we started. So NumPy is the base, followed by pandas, and then followed by Matplotlib. But Matplotlib have more visualization stuff as compared to pandas. Please, are you getting it? Well, I
Yes,
think
sir.
this tool was introduced in 2003 by John Hunter. What he did was he was having a lot of challenges using Excel. So he just came with this idea that, and he was very good in Python programming. He used,
Yes.
because NumPy was basically numerical computational stuff, and so he just find a way. He looked at how Excel they work, and he developed this library, and he made it open source, and people contributed. and it became a popular. So ever since then, they have been increasing even up to now. And now it's a very popular library or package in Python, right? So now it's
Yes.
open source. Maybe if you and I, now that you're also exploring, if you see some bug, that we can also contribute to the community and fix it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So it supports all the Python versions now, the current versions. That's the 3.x plus. So depending on the version that you use, is stable. Yes. So why this data analytics? Why Matplotlib very important in data analytics? Well, one of the advantages how you can transform your raw data into visual instantly. This one you just have to write to. When we start with the coding, you could see that it's very simple. Once you have your data, you can just turn it, and it's all this. As I said, it integrates with pandas and numpy, right? Scikit-learn is another tool. When after this, that we'll be learning with that. That one is more advanced. When you can use that for high scientific packages and other stuff. You'll get there, and it also support both static and interactive visuals, right? Depending on the visualization you want to, be it in a pie chart or land graph or histogram or distribution. It supports all of them, and you can use them in dashboards. So along the course, when we get to the advanced stuff, we'll be building interactive dashboards that you can be interacting using user interface, using all these tools that we are laying the foundations now, right? And of course, this tool, once you have Anaconda installed, it comes with Anaconda straightforward, right? That's why it's Jupyter Notebooks. It's used in Jupyter Notebooks. You don't need to install it like the normal Python. When you install, maybe you have to use pip install. It comes with Anaconda. Once you have Anaconda installed, you don't need to install it again. You just have to import and start writing your scripts. Very simple and
Yes,
straightforward.
sir.
So these are some of the components that you'll be seeing, right? How you can call them. Um, and this tool is also, I don't know, have you heard about MATLAB? MATLAB,
Mm,
have you
no.
heard? Hey, thank God that now all those hectic friends, statistics softwares are now moving, gradually eliminating out of the system. MATLAB is also programming language, very, very difficult. And they still use it. If you go
Mm,
to like those who are much more into hospitals, and they use MATLAB. And Matplotlib also supports that. But that one, we are not using MATLAB. So I remember when I was in school, we were introduced this. It's not as easy as we think. You use
mm,
three-dimensional arrays and other, but I don't want. It's thank God for Python. Python has made everything simple and easier for us. Yes, when it comes to backends, very very easy to interact. So these are some of the things that you'll be seeing. Figure the whole like axis, right? And then you see axis that the x and y. Normally, Matplotlib, because it is a graphical user, it normally works with let me say x and y axis, the normal basics foundation that we know about metrics. It works on that, right? And you can check. So these are some of the cool things that you'll be using. How you can check a line plots, bar plots, objects, you understand, subplots, and all the. These are some of the high level components that you'll be seeing. So
yes.
using the installation, as I said, Matplotlib, when you are installing it separately for, let's say, your Python programming language, this is how you install it. But we are using Jupyter Notebook. We don't need to do this. It already installed for us, so we don't need to install pip install. But this is how it's been done for Python. And Anaconda, if you want, maybe you have you want to create virtual environment for that one separately, maybe another instance that you don't want to conflict with the base or the root um, the root environment, you can use conda install and then you install it. So you can see this code snippet, how it's being done. So the first one, I'm coming. Let me grab. So this first import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. This is the basic one, right, that we normally use. The PLT is the pyplot, right? Meaning you are plotting anytime you want to plot. That's why it's, and this one is also generalized, like the pandas, that the shortcut is PD. So this one is the alias. The PLT is, that's the shortcut. But if you want, you can change it to any abbreviation that you want. But this is well recognized in coding, programming. Anytime you see PLT, you understand, you know that, okay, this is for Matplotlib. And for Jupyter Notebook and other instance, you can use the MPL. But this one is it's a subset from the Matplotlib, right? That's why it's MPL. So you import NumPy as all these ones here, you have already done that. So visualizing something, you just use the plt.style.use. So this one is Seaborn, another visualization, but this one is just showing us how you can use an option, a style the the dashboard that you want to create. This is just a snap code, right? So if you look at this tip, you can see instant design, right, using the style. And if you, for Jupyter Notebook, when you are installing a package, we use the percentage sign. That one is it's a keyword that tells Jupyter Notebook, or whether Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, it tells it that you are installing a package which is not in the root base. So this percentage, we'll be using them when as we progress in the course. And the plt.rc, all these are global variables that you can use. The layout, you'll be using it a lot. How you can customize the colors of your dashboard that you want to see. So you use the layout to do that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so beautiful. This is what you'll be going to this. This is what Matplotlib can do with the data visualization. So if you want to plot in a line, let's say in a metric way, let me see. Let me launch my VS Code. In a line, let's say X and Y. No, I wanted to use visual this thing. Okay. Did I prepare? No. I'm coming. I wanted to show you some file. Okay. Go to data. Pandas. I think I prepared some code base. I wanted to show you. Okay. This. I want to show you some of how Matplotlib can be used.
Yes, sir.
Like using the line. This app is a very good app if you want to come out with a software, or like you want to do some. I hope they have taught you flowchart and data flow, right? You normally use that to do schematic. Okay, I don't want to save this so that it will come fast. Okay, let's proceed when it comes. So line plot is the basic ones that we normally use, and this one we normally use them in time series, right, to see the trend, especially now that stock markets, if there is increase in stock markets, it shows, right? And normally using the bar chart, this one, to compare like the rise and fall of let's say a data. It could be live data or just a data set, a model that has been um, designed. And you can use it for histogram. And these are some of the snippets, right? To use a plot meaning you are plotting a line, right? And then the plt.bar is a bar chart comparing some categories or filters that you want to check. And then the hist is the histogram, that is the encoded version or encoding. Anytime you hear hist, it's a function, Python function in Jupyter Notebook that it understands. It's me histogram. And then scatter. This is another key thing. I think in classroom, I think supervised learning, supervised machine learning, you get there. How do you can scatter the trends of maybe population or something in a scattered. Maybe you are conducting, let's say random selection, right? You are conducting population or maybe random selection, and you want to know the trends of maybe people who are, let's say, short within a specific geography. For instance, in US there, you want to see short people. Where are they coming from? Are they from Africa? Are they from Asia? You can use the scatter plot to do that, to do the groupings. Normally you can use random sampling or something like that. So the scatter normally use the random sampling to do that, right? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
A minute, I'm coming. Okay, let's continue. So with the pie chart, this one you know how pie chart works. So these are some of the cool libraries that visualizations we are going to use, right? Heat map, using maybe confusion matrix, that's two-dimensional array. These are, we'll be using all this in our visualization. Maybe you use the car data set. One of the data set I've sent, we have worked on the last I think 2 sections. You just pick one of them and then you implement or we apply all this to them, and then we see how to lay the foundation of your understanding, right? So these are some of the areas that you can use, graphs that you can use Matplotlib for your plotting, right? Of course, we also have advanced visualization packages that we'll be using. Seaborn makes it very simpler. When it comes to, let's say, interactive, we'll be using Plotly Express. Those ones, they will come in our subsequent lessons.
Yes,
So
sir.
these are some of the code snippets. So the file is already available in the slides. So when you copy some of these things and just paste it, but you need to have a data set, then you just change one or two. It will work for you, right? Because this one is a random figures that we create. But when you copy any of them and you just paste, it will work for you. It will just generate a random, let's say, dash um, graph for you, right? But we will use real data set to implement all this, right? So this is how they work. Always use the fig. Fig means it's a figure. Let's say after you visualize it, you can download it in a PhD, in a picture form, right? The subplot helps it to fit. So you can see some of the key parameters here. So here is checking. So this is how it works. So the figure and then the axis. The axis could be, maybe you want to plot X and Y axis. The 2 by 2 means it's 2 by 2 matrix. right? That's two-dimensional, two dimensions. So the axis, we have the coordinates, that's zero and zero. You can change all this, and we are plotting for bar charts, right? We have the categories and then their values. The cards is for categories, and then the VALs are their values. You can plot. So these are different plottings, right? This one, the first one is a bar chart. The second one is a histogram, and then the third one is a scatter, right? And then the last one is a box plot. We'll be using all these things so that you can see them. In fact, this code, if your Anaconda notebook is launched, you just copy and paste, it will work. You see the different kind of visualization, right? Okay, so let's proceed. Do you understand, please?
Not exactly. I
Yes.
didn't get the explanation.
Okay, let me repeat again. So if you look at the left here, I'm coming. Okay, if you look at it down here, right? So this one, as I said, it has generated a random. I've just generated a random to make you understand. The fig, this one, meaning Matplotlib understand that the fig, when you use, this is the syntax for writing, let's say, a plot. The first syntax, the fig, is the figure that you have. Matplot understand this code. And then the axis, which axis are we plotting? We know that every plot should have x and y axis. Sorry, our x and our y axis. Every plotting should have this. Be it bar chart, histogram, scatter plot. This is how they want. So they will normally work. So with our x and y here, it depends on the data that you want to plot. Maybe in our data set, we have about 10 million records or 10 million distribution or observations. So we can select the ones that we want to plot, and then we append them here. So in our case, let's say we want to plot maybe prices and orders. So the X will be price, and then the Y will be orders. That one, Matplotlib knows the records, and it will just do that for us. Please, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And then the color, you just specify any color that you want. So that is what the basic syntax of this code. And this one is a bit, maybe you are plotting multiple reference and graphs. That is why you are seeing all these coordinates and metrics here. But so for here, the axis.set title. So you give it a title, the name of the title. And this is the x-axis. Maybe axis.set. You are writing a label, or you are giving it a feature, right? Features. Anytime you are labeling a data, you call it features. So you give it maybe x-axis or any name that you want. And then the same to the y-axis. What you want, the data that you want, maybe the title of the data that you want to be seen here, right? Maybe your y, you want to see maybe price, p as price. And then your x-axis, you want to see maybe orders. So you put the titles here. And then the overall title of this graph should be maybe price comparisons, right? Price comparison. You see them, that is the title of the graph or the dashboard, the visualization that we are creating. And so this one, we are just labeling. So the y axis should be our price, and then the x axis should be our orders. And don't
Yes, sir.
forget, this ones you need a real data set to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the legend is a syntax for this thing, for visualizing the dashboard, right? And all these are just layout or styles that you are giving it, the layout. Maybe you want it to be tight, You want it to be intervals. You want to be maybe relative. So you give them, and then if you want to save the chart, this is the syntax: plt.savefig, right? And then you want it in a PNG format, and then the DP, that's the file size, like how you want the wide you want it to be. You can make it 50 or 150 or even 100 or 200, how big you want it to be. And then this is the last command for showing the dashboard, the plt.show. The show is a function, right? Don't forget, anytime you hear PLT, I hope you understand. PLT stands for the Matplotlib, right?
Yes, sir.
So always keep that in mind. So that is what the basic of this code are. So here, the multiple lines you are seeing here. So we are just plotting from different dashboard. The first one is for bar chart. The second one is for histogram. The third one is for scatter. The third bar, this one is for box plots, right? So now you can see that we are still rendering what we are now doing here. It's still down here. So we are plotting different charts on the same line of code. So when you execute this, it will give us different dashboards. But this one is just a single last dashboard plots. Please, you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's how this one works. All right. So now we have some customization or styling. So this one is after you have known the basics. Some of these things, it will depend on the data or how complex or the data kind of data set you work with. If when it comes to teams, Seaborn is very good, and it comes with more beautiful UI plotting. It's another package. It's more advanced than Matplotlib. That is why we are suggesting this to be used. And all these are themes. So all these colors, they are all found in Matplotlib. So you can change them, the colors and then the themes. Right? We have the GG plots, the dark background plots, the tableau. So all these are normally using depending on the theme that you want to use, as I said. But these are the global settings. Maybe you want to set your color, your theme for maybe the plotting you are doing. So you use the plt.rc. That's you are setting the colors, the color range. So these are the parameters. The updates, then you put in all this line of code. Then you just visualize it. So you can see some of the names of the colors, right? All these are color coding. Sorry, I'm coming. In color coding, it will depend on what color that you want. All this just to customize your advanced how you want it to be. All right. So now this is the startup, right? All that we have discussed, it was just so if you are starting it, let's say for instance, you remember as I said that for Matplotlib, you need to have a data before you can work with, right? And you need to have it normally work with pandas and then NumPy. These are the two things that Matplotlib always work with. So last week we learned about how you can read different file extensions. So this is just a simple um, dummy, maybe pd.read csv sales csv, right? And we put so these are and this data set we have maybe an observation of features. I hope you understand if I say features. Features are just like the headings, the titles. So let's say we have here price, right? And price, they have data all the way. And then here we have revenue. Let's say R. And then they also have their data all the way. And then we have maybe our monthly sales, right? Or sales and their data. So this one is plotting. It has selected the title or the heading called revenue, and that is what is plotting. And we want that one is going to be line chart. So it's going to be something like this, right? Something like this. That is what line chart is all about. So, and we are now plotting again on histogram. So you want to see the X and Y, the figures, like the size, the figure size. That's 10 by 6. So we want the width to be 10, and then the height to be 10, and then the width to be 6. All these are customization. And then for NumPy and the Matplotlib, this is how it also works. So you use X is equals to NL np dot line space, then you put the numbers, right? This is just a generated numbers. And then Y is equals to sine X. Then you plot the same df, and then you get the same result. But this one is more of statistical visualization, right? Please, you understand?
Yes, sir.
So if you look at down here, this is what, when it comes to visualization, this is what they normally see in statistics. This down here, these are popular tools that they normally use. Tools, and then environments that they normally use. Pandas and data frames. That's for reading and modifying your files. NumPy arrays. That's for creating NumPy data from scratch. Scikit-learn. So this one, when it comes to machine learning, it helps with more of complex statistical and then mathematical computations. That's an advanced tool, which I won't talk about it now. And then Seaborn, this one is also another tool. It's just like Matplotlib that we are discussing, but this one also has it's built on top of Matplotlib. It has enhanced, and this one has more of advanced interactions, right? And this is our environment that we'll be using, the Jupyter Notebook. Coming to SciPy, when it comes to statistics, advanced statistics and interaction, let's say your plot, you want it to be interactive. When you click, it should give all the observations or the data in a populated, nice user interface. When you click on it, SciPy also works on that. So the high level of visualization. So these are the popular things that you will be integrating when we get to the advanced stuff. But all this are built on Matplotlibs. Please, do you understand? In when it comes to visualization,
Yes, sir.
okay. So we have things that we are supposed to do, and then things that we don't. Since we are still a beginner, when you we dig in more, like when you are curious and you do more, you sometimes you want to try more hands, and these are the right things to do. So you always use the title, right? Any data that you want to plot, you have to give it a title. That's your X and Y axis. You have to give them. And
Yes, sir.
here is teaching us that sometimes maybe it will depend on the title. You have to load, let's say, about 10 headings on the same plot. That one, it will make the plot messy or something ambiguous. You won't be able to see how nice it should be. So it's telling that we shouldn't normally, when we are doing plotting and visualization, we should pick the accurate ones that we want rather than just plotting the entire data set. That one you won't see, it will just do it anyhow, right? When plotting, we call them series. The the data that you upload or the heading that you have, we call them series, right? And we normally use the tight layout to avoid clipping, right? And instead, when you are using this, we have to always avoid using plt.show in saving scripts. When you want to save the script, we don't use this show. This one is to visualize, to just show the plot. Please, are you understanding it?
Yes,
And
sir.
then we set the figure. with a predefined size that we want for readability. Especially we can say maybe 50 or 10. I'm not good in using laser mouse. Maybe 10 by 50, right? We have given it a size for that, and it's very simple to read in terms of readability. And when you are saving it, we should save it. It shouldn't be less than 150, because Matplotlib, when you do it maybe below this, the graph or the plot will be very small when you download it in a PhD, either PNG or it will be very JPEG. It will be very small for you. So it's highly recommended that we should normally set it to 150 plus before we can download it. And because Matplotlibs, the question should be, so doesn't it also have limitations? Yes, it has. So you can see one of its limitations. You can't plot 3D charts on using Matplotlibs. It will cause a problem. Sometimes it will load, it will be forever loading. That is one limitations about Matplotlib. And that is where Seaborn and then SciPy come in. And you can also use meaningful colors. As I said, this one is an option. It will depend on the type of maybe data set that you want to visualize as a data analytics or analyst. Maybe if it is financial data, you should know the colors that you use in finances. If it is for economics, we should know. If it is for maybe scientific, we should know the colors that we use, and then we use them, right? And another limitation, we should always don't ignore to use the PLT to close. Anytime maybe you have overloaded your distance. So these are some of the things we should avoid. And of course, when we are using subplots for multi-charts or dashboard, this one it works when we are using, let's say, more data sets. You have joined about 4 or 3 data sets and you want to visualize them in one chart. It also gives us, so we normally use the subplots for labeling to extend the data, like the plots that we are doing. And we know that this plot or this record belongs to, let's say, data set A. This one belongs to data B. This belongs to data set C. Please, do you get it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So in a nutshell, this is what this slide is all about. So next week we'll start doing more hands, like the lab part, the how we read the data. We are going to use, I think I've shared some of the data sets with you, either the car or superstore or maybe the match results. We'll just pick one of them and then we'll start applying all this, right? Matplotlib is very, very good. So this for the foundation. So these are some of the things that in a summary what we just discussed. But with scikit-learn, it's advanced. I don't want us to talk about, because that one, when we go to, let's say, machine learning, basics in machine learning, it's a tool that we normal package that we use. For instance, linear regression, decision trees. This is what we normally, but this one is far advanced when we get there, right? So I think that is the slide for today. As I said, it will be good so that we could have started with a basics lab, but it's quite unfortunate. We have to do that in our next lesson. So I'll highly do you any questions so far? Hola.
Yes, sir.
Please, do you have any question or any suggestion?
Yes, sir, please no.
Okay, so I'll highly recommend you go
Go
back
over
and then try, especially some of this, like import some of these simple code snippets and see how they work, the result that you get. Then you can try and change one or two things and see different results. For instance, like with this type of plots, the plots that we'll be using, right? Pick, or you can just generate maybe 10 data sets or 10, like what we did last time. The assignment I gave you, you can generate that. You can use that, import the matplotlibs and just start using any of these things. If I'm sure it may be a bit different for you, difficult for you, but if you get the concept, this one is they are very simple. Start with the basics, how you can plot them. However, next week we'll start with all of these things, right? But I highly recommend you to do a bit research about it to deepen your understanding, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think that is all for tonight.